We're live!
What's up, what's up? Welcome to the second research release of Roofless Radio Poor Magazine. My name is Junebug, and research is a poor people-led research. So here today, welcome to the invasion of the tent snatchers part 2. As a follow-up to our October 2018 research release Poor unhoused and unvetted San Francisco residents, we are going to release our second research today that we found on data that is ongoing of theft to homeless and houseless residents in San Francisco.
Okay, we got it.
I'd like to call up one of our youth scholars, Zaire, who will begin to lead us in the reading of our research results. Here they are.
Of course.
We need to take this mic down. There you go.
In October of 2018, poor, unhoused San Francisco residents of San Francisco collected data on the 100 tents and belongings seized under the new mayoral and administration of London Breed. That research report on the deaths of over 400 tents belonging to 210 houseless residents by the new mayoral administration of San Francisco.
Thank you, Zaire. Next we have Kimo, who will also begin to lead us into the part of the history of this study.
Since the inauguration of London Breed, unhoused residents of San Francisco have struggled with series of tent and belonging seizures and police and DPW harassment. They struggled with a series of tent and belonging of seizure. The overall attacks on the poor and unhoused people is continuation of the previous mayoral administration's ongoing attacks on unhoused San Francisco residents. What was evident from this research study is the attacks now include the specific seizure of people's tents, which adds another inhumane and violent aspects to the attack on our lives for the sole act of not having access to housing in the city, which has some of us most violent forms of displacement, removal and evictions of poor people and working class families.
Thank you. Now we have Amir, who will then go into the research process.
The second research study was launched November 1st and ended Friday, January 18th, and revealed a 200% rise in the tent seizures of unhoused people. This was a follow-up to the October 24th report, which was launched on Black August 31st Street.
Thank you. Now we have Solomon coming up.
No one.
Roofless Radio researchers, a team of unhoused, formerly unhoused, working class, very low and no income, black, brown, poor, and First Nations youth and adult poverty scholars. All who have been working and sitting and sleeping and living in and out of housing in San Francisco. Conducted interviews and conversations with their communities and families of fellow poverty scholars, and then quantified the data to the following results.
And here are the results, folks. Tiny.
Well, first of all, I want to call out that there's some wealth hoarders that are coming into the Paul Trickster Hall right now. Who have, spent more money on their cars and their dresses than people on the street even have for rent in this city.
Amen.
So we didn't plan for this to be tonight, but there's obviously no accident in what we do. Because we're walking with God right now, the revolutionary called Jesus, and definitely we were called to this. There are people on the street taking They're polarized taking people's tents. We have nowhere to sleep. And there are people up here with $3,000 dresses and chauffeur-driven cars. That's a crime. Who's the criminals, people? Yeah. Anyway, so the research release is because poor and unhoused people are having their tents stolen and their belongings thrown in the trash.
Boo.
And people like this sign off on that and look the other way and practice the violent act of looking away.
Oh.
Resources tour. The next one will be in Berkeley. I hope you join us. So, who are the researchers? The data collectors. The researchers are 210 San Francisco residents who are sitting, standing, convening, sleeping in San Francisco while houseless and criminalized for that sole act. Who are they? They're the folks that this city doesn't want to see. They are 65% African descent or mixed African descent, 35% are raza or indigenous, mixed race, white or other, 30% are 65 to 75 years old, 70% are 30 to 45 years old, 70% were men, and 27% are women. 25% are trans and non-gender conforming. 70% are houseless after being evicted from long-time homes and neighborhoods in San Francisco that only make space for wealth hoarders, like the people walking in right now. 80% are living with untreated psychological disabilities, and 70% are living with physical disabilities.
Just hearing that, so far what I've heard, this is an atrocity.
I got you.
This is horrific, and this is a crime. And we need to hold, who do we hold accountable for this? We need to hold the mayor, we need to hold DPW, we need to hold the police accountable. And all of us in society need to be held accountable. Next we have Zaire.
He said, yeah.
410 tents were reported seizures from 206 unhoused residents from September 7th to January 18th, 2019. 56,310 dollars in belongings and medicine were seized and disappointed by DPW and or San Francisco police. Tent belonging and medicine seizures resulted in several severe illnesses and emergency rooms visits from unhoused residents of San Francisco, and in at least 4 cases were related to street-based death.
What does that sound like to me? That sounds like attempted murder on houseless folks.
Amen.
Genocide by wealth hoarders.
Next we have Solomon.
Demand/ask based on research findings. Seized and deceased in the taking of our enclosures and belongings.
Yes!
Us unhoused people of San Francisco are asking for liberated Ohlone Lachon land so we could build our own self-determined projects like homefulness.
Yes!
Yeah, you're fine.
Asking housed residents to send emails, calls, letters, visits to Lemon Bree's office, demanding that they seize and desist tent and belonging seizures from unhoused SF residents.
No tax dollar. We pull it out.
Well,
I'm just like, whoa, blown away. I mean, think about those numbers. From that period of time to this period of time, based on the research findings, 400 tents have been snatched. You're taking from people who have nothing and leaving them to die. We're at a time when it's raining. I know of someone who was out there in the rain. They took their tent. They even were taking their tarps. You're taking from people who have nothing. This is an act of attempted murder. This is an act of genocide. This is basically showing that poor people don't matter. And that is not okay. We do matter. And we are here. And we shall not be moved. This is not okay.
That's right.
We ask that all of you stand in solidarity with us. If you're homeless, stand with us. If you're formerly homeless, stand with us. And if you do have housing, stand with us. And let us hold these public officials, hold the mayor, DPW, and the police accountable for stealing from the poor.
That's right.
They are not keeping your belongings.
Amen.
They are destroying people's belongings. They're leaving them on the street to die. And the solution is conservatorship? That's right. What? That sounds like institutional immigration. That is not a solution. Now they want to talk about navigation centers. Well, from my understanding, these navigation centers aren't very safe for people. And the staff there are not even equipped to even help take care of people. This is an atrocity, and this has to stop. I myself, as somebody who's been formerly homeless more than once in my life, can tell you that experience will never leave you.
Amen.
I was 8 years old and I had to live in a tent. God forbid that a police officer came along and took my tent. All I would have is the sky. And guess what? The sky is raining right now. But we can't be out here in these elements like this. This is killing people. I want to speak to the fact that some of these people that are out on these streets are disabled physically. Some of these people that are out on these streets are actually with medical disability, who are out here living with HIV and AIDS. And that is the reality. And now you're taking and taking and taking. But yet, where is the giving? Well, the mayor wants to talk about cleaning up the streets. Well, let me tell you, Mayor London Breed, aka London Breed, what cleaning up the streets looks like. Cleaning up the streets is providing a 24-hour accessible bathroom. Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with a garbage can. Garbage cans are not even as accessible as they used to be. Let's talk about the safe injection sites that the Governor Jerry Brown refused to sign Assembly Bill 186. He refused to sign it. To me, cleaning up the streets doesn't look like taking someone's tent and leaving someone out there to die. Cleaning up the streets is actually a city's responsibility to provide for people without, to take care of people without, to show compassionate acts to people without, not to criminalize people for being homeless. I'm going to tell you right now that even prior to London Breed coming into office, we have had this constant attack, and it's growing and growing against folks in poverty. It is growing and growing against folks that are homelessness. This is an attack. We are under attack, and it is getting more and more and more scarier. It is getting more dangerous. Folks are at risk of more arrests. We're talking, people have died out here in these streets. A man was actually attacked by DPW just for trying to get his stuff back. He was attacked so bad that he's lying in a tent right now somewhere here in the city with broken ribs and had to get medical attention for it. This is our city, our home. This isn't just an our city, our home for people who are middle class and upper class. It's for folks who work every day. It's for the working class. It's for the working poor too. All of us belong here. This is our city. It's not just for those who can afford housing. It's for those who can't afford housing. Maybe if you lower the price tag, maybe we stop the government shutdown, maybe we had some real solutions in place that actually were humane towards people, we would have a better, healthier society. But when you tell me and you tell children they don't matter, how are we supposed to feel? How are we supposed to act?
Stop the evictions.
Stop the evictions.
Maybe we don't vote a Democrat again. Maybe we'll change.
Right?
Try something different.
We need to try something different. Because I think the way that under the mayor administration cleaning up the streets, if this is what cleaning up the streets looks like, I'm sorry, but we should press charges. we should press charges. If this is what cleaning up the streets looks like, press charges against every officer that has taken homeless people's tents and belongings. Press charges against the DPW for destroying people's belongings, the little bit of things that they have. Yeah, and press charges against the mayor for cleaning up the streets in such an inhumane way. There's other solutions in place, and I just mentioned a few. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic.
I just want to say to people watching, there's a specific ask, T-Boo.
Yes.
There's a specific ask that we're putting out. So I just want to repeat, the research finding again was that 410 tents have been taken since Black August 31st, i.e. when this mayor took office, which actually was September 7th. That was when we began the research. Right now, it's up to 210, and that was as of Friday. Since then, who knows how much. So the point is, we have a specific ask of anybody who's watching or listening to us. Go into the mayor's office with your physical body, call the mayor's office with your cell phone, text the mayor's office, and email as many times as they're taking tents. Go and make contact with the mayor and tell them to stop taking people's tents. Amen. And to the wealth hoarders and land stealers who are rushing into the $3,000 a night party, stop making people die on these streets by doing nothing. So, again, we have a direct ask. There's over 10 to 12 tents, if you do the math, that are being taken per day. We're asking people go in over 10 to 12 times, call the mayor over 10 to 12 times, email the mayor 10 to 20 times, until 410 times have been asked of the mayor to stop taking poor people's tents.
Amen.
I want to ask Uncle Leroy, who's here, to speak a little bit as a race and disability and health and scholar with Poor Magazine on the conservatorship.
Con.
Hello. I want to give some background on the Snatchers Short Act because it was passed in 1969 with a representative from Oakland, and he passed it just as a no force treatment, 1969. When Reagan got in office, they flipped it, closed all the hospitals, and then now you have the homelessness, and they flipped it to jail people who are homeless. So this is nothing new. The conservatorship is gonna erase the whole Lazarus Short Act, which really does really good work. It really says that people with mental health need services, not jail. So once again, it's gonna flip that and turn this act into something that's wrong. And we have to say no. It is funny because the Lazarus Act was passed under Reagan, but Reagan flipped it and totally forced mental health treatment on people that are houseless. So now today, our ex-governor, Governor Brown, that was his almost last bill that he signed into law, was his conservatorship. So we can see that the Democrats and the Republicans are not really on holding up the whole Land Act. So yeah, just think about that.
6 more minutes.
I also got to just say that as a piggyback to that, the conservatorship, which is something Poor Magazine has been working on since '98, because poor families, families of colors, lives and homes and equity are stolen behind it. So now that it actually is predating on unhoused people, saying that if you're taken in on 5150 over 8 times, you are now can be served. It's just another way to steal poor people's money. There's nothing new under that sun. I want to turn it over because when Junebug said we got to do something different, that's what we do. You're looking at the liberated villages of homefulness, Decolonized Academy, a liberation school for poor and houseless and formerly houseless children, and homefulness, a homeless people solution to homelessness. We're asking the mayor to give us some liberated LaShawn Ohlone land so we can actually build a homefulness here for unhoused folks. So we're going to turn it over to one of our youth scholars, who is an amazing poet, like all of our scholars, to spit a beautiful poem as a formerly houseless child. So these wealth hoarders and land stealers go to the $3,000 a night party while people's cats are being stolen. Again, there's no mistakes to why we are here today.
Democrat at work. Tax dollar at work. Shame.
Good night, San Francisco! My name's Kimo, and I'm a student of Decolonized Academy. I'm an individual who does not like wasting time, so okay, I'm ready. All right. You're stealing people's tents because they can't pay no rent. You treat me like a pest and treat me like I'm less. You took my tent away. You took my home away. I don't got no time to rest. You treat me like a criminal or look away as I'm invisible while I'm getting ridiculed by a cop. If I don't do what he says, I'm gonna get shot or end up in jail because I don't have enough to pay bail. If I don't got no time to vent because you already took my tent.
Yeah!
Shame! 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 Shame!
Yeah!
Shame!
Yep!
Shame!
Yep! You know it?
Well, I think
Big
it's
time.
great how we keep
Yeah.
calling out shame
I know you was on my
because
head.
they want to make us feel ashamed.
Exactly.
And I think that we have some other folks
Yeah.
that want to get up here and speak.
that.
But I really appreciate Kimo for sharing that piece. And, you know, we're facing just the sole act of sleeping outside is being criminalized, and that is not okay. And we have a city where people are taking tents, police officers, DPW working together, taking tents, and this has got to stop. I was reading an article in a magazine recently, and this lady, some kind of organization was out on Skid Row, I think in LA, and they were passing out menstrual kits for folks who are homeless. And I thought, well, too bad we couldn't pass out homes to folks who are homeless. But at least there was somebody giving back, giving to someone who has nothing as opposed to taking everything they got. So I just like to call up Dayton, and here we go.
Hey everybody.
Hey, Dayton!
How y'all doing?
Doing good!
Chill. Alright, once again, I'm Dayton Andrews. I'm with the United Front Against Displacement. The United Front Against Displacement is a mass organization forged in the struggles of working people in West Oakland. On October 24th, there was a mass towing of over 15 vehicles.
That's right.
Over 50 people were put on the street. Lynette McElhaney, the supervisor of that district, District 3 in Oakland, was asked, why did it happen? She said, I don't know. She didn't know. She doesn't know what's actually going on in her district. And so 5 people out of 40 went in front of City Hall and demanded answers. And after consistent struggle, it's built. The movement's slowly building. But that's the main goal behind this. We actually have to come together and actually resist these attacks on the poor. These are not exceptions to the rule. These are the rule. This is how working people have been treated throughout history, throughout this country. It's not just an issue of San Francisco, what's going on in Oakland. This is happening everywhere. It's happening abroad. So we have to come together and resist. We cannot comply with these unjust laws. We cannot sit idly by and wait for something to happen. We have to make it happen, even if we're the only ones. That's the trippy part. People don't really like. They don't like to do things by themselves. It's all right, we're social creatures, but unfortunately, monkey see, monkey do. So we actually have to demonstrate a better politic to people because these people are eating garbage.
Thank you.
They're eating garbage.
Thank you.
We have to eat the vegetables first.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
No garbage here! No garbage here!
And they're having an action right here today, tomorrow at 12 noon, so show up. Poor Magazine will be there.
No garbage here!
Before we close out of here, again, I want to repeat, for the wealth hoarders and land stealers who are coming up to the $3,000 ticket night, that 200 tents have been taken from unhoused San Francisco residents since September 7th of 2018. That is 4 months. Do the math. Shame. We're talking over 10 to 12 tents a day.
Not right, not right.
Are being taken on a consistent basis, and that's only from a small handful of people that we were able to ask for research. We only have about 110 researchers. So do the math. They're taking people's tents over and over again and leaving us on the street. And I do want to lift up the fact that there were 3 deaths because of exposure. So when we poor folks are on the street and we're already sick, now they take our tents. What do you think's going to happen? So again, the wealth hoarders and land stealers that are continuing to hoard and steal need to know that that $3,000 ticket would buy 30 tents.
Yeah.
So we have a little prayer saying that we're going to close out with, right, June? Okay, and that's my beautiful sister, June Bug, co-founder of Family Project at Decolonize Academy.
Yeah. Say that. Say what?
No wall should divide us.
Everybody together. No wall should divide us.
No president should forsake us.
No president should forsake us.
Too much greed has prevailed.
Too much greed has prevailed.
We must fight for justice and rebel.
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 We must fight for justice and rebel because poor people are under attack and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I matter and you matter. And we're going to fight because we do matter. And this is an injustice. And injustice to that is a justice to all. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Poor people. Change won't come from a savior, a pimp, or an institution. Change will only come from a
poor people-led revolution.
Thank you for the research, and please make your voices heard to the power tricksters.